How do we prepare the dog for the newborn baby? A few weeks ahead of time, or say 2 weeks ahead of time, start distancing yourself from the dog. Maybe you start carrying a little doll or carry a stuffed animal. Let your dog know that your direction, your attention is going to be directed elsewhere. That your fur baby is now going to be number two. He's not the center of attention anymore. So you get him or her, you get the dog comfortable with that first. Play recordings, find digital recordings of babies crying, babies laughing, baby noises. If you have a nursery set up, we're going to bring the dog in there and let them investigate, let them get used to all those new smells, and let them see there's something new arriving. If you have a lot of those bouncy musical toys and the little walker seats, that may make noise, they have lights, they have mobiles hanging, a lot of stimulation, and let the dog see those things and hear those things before the baby is in and actually using them. Teaching the dog, if your dog has been taught to walk nicely on a leash and walks by your side, now you want to get the dog used to a stroller. Move the stroller, have the dog sit and get used to the wheels going around it, go around the dog, and get the dog used to walking next to the stroller. Teach heel, we teach heel next to the human, heel next to the stroller. Just like we teach the dogs to heel next to a wheelchair or a walker or anything else. So you teach them to get accustomed to walking with the stroller. And you can teach all of those things. So obviously teaching the dog to walk next to the stroller while there is not a baby in the stroller is a great way to go. So you simply prepare the dog by simulating what you think it might be like. So your dog has never had this experience, and it's just getting them used to all the sounds, smells, and the new activity. So a big deal is getting the dog used to the new activity, meaning that your attention is going to be elsewhere. This is why stay is such a great command to have, to teach focus at a distance and to teach a long sit stay. Down stay can come later. We think in terms of sit stay teaches tolerance, teaches self-control. Down stay is an everyday life command. I'm working at my desk or we're having dinner. You're going to be sitting watching TV. The dog should down and stay. Because very often, as we say, to lie down is to shut down. The dog's just going to lay down and go to sleep. So for the sake of teaching and getting the dog to tolerate, getting the dog to really learn, we want the dog to sit up so it's got to stay engaged. We do the same thing with down. Start with the sit. A long sit, let the dog experience what sounds and motion the stroller makes, the baby swing, the walker toys, all of those noises, motions, all of those things that the dog has never seen. By the time the baby arrives, they're old hat, they're old news, right? In other words, the dog doesn't have to experience those things for the first time when the baby is actually using them, because that's where you might see the dog start to bark or be concerned, or either is not happy about what the baby's doing or that is afraid that the baby's going to get hurt. So that's why they're barking. So if the dog experiences the sounds and the motion and the noises all of the baby things make before the baby uses them, so now the dog is more relaxed. So when you actually have the baby in those things and you're going through those activities, it's not all new, and the dog learns that tolerant. And that is the importance of a stay. So we teach stay, like I say, we move something, we get it to make that noise. The dog gets up or reacts, whatever. We're just going to put him back, start again, And now we get to praise the dog for tolerating the sounds and the motion of whatever those things are. The big thing is attention. And I would be leery of things like the dog and baby on the couch together. Every circumstance when it comes to children, little infants and dogs, is always different, because every dog personality and every scenario, every household is different. So when we talk of babies and dogs, children and dogs, it's not like, there's one answer. I have the baby and we're going to do this. What should I do with the dog? You can't always just say, here's the thing to do, because it depends on the temperament of the dog. It depends on the experience of the dog. So it's always about teaching. And the thing to be aware of is that in the early stages, in the first 8 months, the first year is one thing. Where the big change and the big learning curve is going to happen is when the baby starts moving around on its own. So this is why we want to be careful of the dogs up on the couch and up on certain furniture, because if the dog has always been allowed on the couch and now, our 1.5-year-old has learned to climb up there, and the dog may not be so happy. It may feel, its space is being invaded there. Or, the dog is on the floor and the baby climbs down and lands on the dog or whatever. It's when the dog starts moving around. It's when the babies start moving around and, are a little more independent. That's when a big job really starts. But if you've done the groundwork ahead of time and the dog has really learned to sit, stay, and down stay and watch the dog, watch the baby, and, observe and tolerate at a distance, that's where it's all good. In the early stages, new baby coming home, best thing is start a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks ahead of time. Make sure if the dog is a good listener, you've been through some good training and you can trust the dog to stay, to walk by your side, to lie down and stay, to sit and stay. If the dog will do those things, then introducing it to anything new or a new way of life, because there's going to be an addition, not an intrusion, but an addition that the dog has to learn to coexist with. That's where you get things off to a right start. It's always in the planning. I hope that helps. I'm Jack Cran from Peace of Mind Canine. You can always reach me at my website, peaceofmindcanine.com, and I'm here to help you any way I can. Thanks. Bye for now.